Um, so yeah, we're now going to move on to discuss the latest fiasco in the coronavirus pandemic, um, which is that the government have introduced mandatory mask wearing um, in shops and takeaways from yesterday. And I think we both have some quite strong opinions on this. Um, I think it's a complete farce, and it's far too late, as is everything else in their uh, management of this pandemic. Everything has been weeks or months late or behind the rest of the world, except for America, because that's just a totally different, that's in a different league. Um, but I'm going to use actually, can't believe I'm quoting Nigel Farage, but he did an interview recently and talked about our response to the pandemic, and he said that it's a case of following ship rather than leadership, um, because we basically done what all the other countries have done 3 months late, um, from PPE to testing to going into lockdown. Almost every single aspect of this pandemic has been run horrendously, to the point where you think kids could actually have run this pandemic better. I mean, it's just scandalous. And the masks, they said, I think everyone will remember this. They said very early on that masks were completely useless, didn't really do anything, and it would be pointless to put them in place. There was no scientific evidence that they would be of benefit. And then we find ourselves 4 months down the line. We're through the worst of the pandemic. We've had one of the highest death rates in the world, and then they decide it's a good idea to bring them in because the rest of the world is doing it. And I just find it the amount of U-turns and contradictions during this pandemic. I don't know where we're at. I don't know whether masks are useful or not. In my opinion, from what I've heard from the scientists, they're only useful if everyone wears them, because they don't protect you, they protect others around you, or they reduce the risk, they don't stop it completely. So unless everyone wears one, it's completely useless. And yesterday on my drive back from Dover, I stopped at a service station, and to be honest, in my delirium from not having much sleep, I had completely forgotten. So I went to the door, and there were loads of people walking in with masks, and then I remembered that the masks had been brought in. So I went back to the car, put my mask on, went in, bought a chocolate bar from the WH Smiths in there, and the girl on the checkout wasn't wearing one. And I just thought, here we go already. This is day one, and already there's people not wearing them. So there's no point. There is no point wearing them now. Maybe if they'd introduced mask wearing at the start of back in February, when we knew we had a few cases and that the pandemic was building, they may have been effective, if everyone had worn them. But no one gives a toss anymore, and we're through the worst of the pandemic at the moment. We may need, if there's a second wave, we may need them. But I just think it's completely unnecessary, and hardly anyone is going to do it, and it's going to put people off from going shopping, because wearing a mask isn't nice. I go blind when I wear one because I wear glasses and they steam up. So it's not going to help the economy if that's what they're bringing it in, because they think it's going to help the economy. But it's going to put people off from shopping. They're going to just do everything online, and businesses will go bust. But yes,
I have two words. I have two words, which make up a question aimed at the government. So if anyone from the Conservative Party are watching this afternoon, good afternoon. I would like to say, why now? As Harry said so
doesn't make
movingly,
sense.
4 months ago, when this was all just creeping up on us, we could have said, wear masks. I mean, for goodness sake, our little tagline was control the virus, stay alert.
It has
save
not
lives.
been controlled.
How the hell do you control the virus without wearing a face mask or without wearing some
Well,
sort of face covering?
I'm still unconvinced by whether masks are any use or not. I don't think they're really of any benefit. I think the best way to combat it is to do the social distancing and wear and use hand sanitizer. And that's another thing they've said. I read something this morning. They're thinking of introducing gloves. Gloves are literally the worst thing you could think of to introduce.
I popped down to the shop just before lunchtime, and I shall put my mask on now. Just
Yeah.
stop the spread of coronavirus. Um, and these things are really hard to breathe in.
Oh, they're nasty.
Um, and I said to the guy who was working down there, it's really bloody hard to breathe in these. He said, luckily I don't have to wear one. Why does he not have to wear one
I don't get
as
it.
someone who's working in the shop? And I said, I've heard that they're looking to bring in gloves. He said, why? He said, if you touch something with your hands,
Exactly.
your the germs are on the product and the germs are on your hands. If you put gloves on, anyone who isn't wearing gloves could pick something up, put it back. If you pick it up with your gloves on, the germs are now on the gloves, and
You're touching everything and
you
you're
are
touching
touching everything
doors.
and spreading the virus even
It is
more.
the gloves are a vector. They are a method of spreading the virus. So if they bring that in, then they have lost the plot. I think they've already lost the plot, but they have gone insane if they think that bringing in gloves is a good idea. When hand sanitizer is far more effective, because if you touch something, I know this because I've been out and about quite a lot from doing surveys and stuff. I know that when I touch equipment, I immediately, as soon as possible, I hand sanitize and I make a point of not touching my face. It's really very straightforward. Gloves is a farce. And if they bring that in, it's just going to be a disaster.